Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
Welcome to the Josh Graham Show, with you nationwide until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which means we'll bring you updates from moving day at the Masters. Rory McIlroy trying to hold off the rest of the field. That includes Shane Lowry, who just moments ago sunk a hole-in-one on the par 3-6, elevating him momentarily to second place at 8 under par. He is 4 back of Rory, that is at 12 under where he started the day. But let's put a pin in the golf for now, because we have a noteworthy trade in the NFL that we need to discuss. The Eagles add Packers wide receiver Dontavion Wicks in exchange for a 5th-round draft pick, and this move makes it abundantly clear we're trending towards another A.J. Brown draft night trade. It might happen before the draft. It's not going to happen any later than draft night. That's less than 2 weeks out. That trade is going to happen because this move, Wicks to Philadelphia, happens less than a month after Philly signed both Hollywood Brown and Elijah Moore in free agency. Let's also not forget they have another top 10 pick at receiver in Devontae Smith still around. If they intended to play all these receivers at once, with A.J. Brown as well, as the roster is currently constituted, how would that work exactly? Would that be good management? Would that be good roster building? It wouldn't, which is why he's going to be moved. And by the way, a quick aside on the Packers front, no issue really from their end. You drafted Matt Golden in the first round for a reason. It's about time you drafted a receiver in round 1. You have Reed, you have Watson back. You have Tucker Kraft, who's going to be back from the injury too, one of the best pass-catching tight ends that are out there. You certainly have enough weapons surrounding Jordan Love. So this doesn't hurt you all that much, and it's a decent value that you get back. So what does a trade look like? What do the Philadelphia Eagles get for A.J. Brown? It's going to be a second-round pick. What amounts to about a second-round pick is going to be the compensation for A.J. Brown. That's exactly what the Chicago Bears received from the Bills in exchange for DJ Moore, and Brown has a very similar value than DJ Moore has. Productive, good numbers, but expendable given the roster he's on, and a team wanting to move on after a memorably bad postseason moment. Credit to Howie Roseman, who might be the best GM in the NFL. Credit to his patience. He didn't want to make a rash move. He wanted to see if somebody was willing to give him a 1. He has all the messaging out there where he's leaking to reporters, oh, they're only listening for first-round draft picks. You're going to have to settle for a second. It wouldn't even shock me if teams don't go that high, saying, we know you want to move this player. We're not giving you anything better than a third-rounder, but a second-round pick is probably what it's going to be, and that is right, given the DJ Moore piece, but also let's not forget that A.J. Brown was moved on draft night 4 years ago from the Titans to the Eagles in exchange for the 18th pick that ended up being a bust receiver out of Arkansas and the number 101 pick, which is a third-rounder. That's a lifetime, 4 years, a lifetime for a receiver in this league. So his value is about a second-round pick. That's what the Eagles should expect to get. Who might give them that second-round pick? The New England Patriots are still the team that makes the most sense. Here's a funny question. If Diana Rossini gets that nugget from Mike Vrabel, does she break that news? Maybe she passes that along to a colleague, says, hey, maybe you can break this one. Might be fine if this is a big nugget, but, probably wouldn't look great if, oh, Diana Rossini's breaking the news of a Patriots A.J. Brown trade. Where did she get that info from?
Don't think she's going to be reporting on anything anytime soon.
Hey, well, the draft's coming up. Might see her around that time, but the New York Times is now sniffing around investigating it. Apparently she's been suspended indefinitely based on what you read. But the Patriots, they're still the team that makes the most sense. They let Stephon Diggs and Austin Hooper walk. They brought in Romeo Doubs, speaking of former Packer receivers. to replace some of Diggs' production, but that's not a one-for-one. This is a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, had a near MVP quarterback on a rookie deal in Drake May. This is the type of move. This is the behavior of teams in a winning window. This is the type of aggression you want to see. This would be the type of aggressive trade you'd expect from a team trying to keep up with the Broncos, who made an aggressive trade in adding Jalen Waddle, the Ravens in adding Trey Hendrickson, the Buffalo Bills in adding DJ Moore. They're making moves. They're pushing their chips to the center. The Patriots, they should be doing the same thing. And obviously Mike Vrabel has that connection to A.J. Brown from their time in Tennessee together. So an A.J. Brown trade, it does seem inevitable that we're going to get that. Will Dalton, who you just heard from, he is the producer of this program. We're taking your calls at 310-840-4910. Josh Jacobs, yes, that Josh Jacobs is taking your calls at 310-840-4910. And here's a question that we're asking today. After this trade, who is in a better position to contend next season, Philadelphia or Green Bay? This trade might not move the needle at all for you. Maybe your opinion, it's just either affirmed or you still feel unmoved between the two. But Philly, Green Bay, who's in a better position right now on April the 11th? 310-840-4910. That's what we're asking. Let us know. Is it the Eagles or is it the Packers? But shifting the conversation, there is something that is really firing up yours truly today. It is genuinely upsetting. The final weekend of the NBA regular season is here. That means it's about to be pencils down on the awards races. This is the sample size. It's a regular season award. And right now, if you were to look at betting sites, various betting sites, and look up the odds for the NBA's Rookie of the Year, you will find that with one game left to go, Cooper Flagg is now the slight betting favorite over his college roommate at Duke from a year ago, Con Knipple, to win the NBA's Rookie of the Year award. This is insanity. Cooper Flagg, this should not even be a consideration. Con Knipple should win the award in a rout. This is done. It should be finished business. Let's hope that it is for the sake of the voters and their credibility. Cooper Flagg for Rookie of the Year, he should not be the betting favorite. He should not even be a consideration. The Dallas Mavericks, if you've been paying attention, have turned this Rookie of the Year race into an absolute farce. This is a tanking team. Moving off of Anthony Davis, not really all that interested in having Kyrie Irving back. They literally have nothing else to play for except for force-feeding Cooper to try to elevate his numbers to help him get the Rookie of the Year. It's a full Bam Adebayo treatment, and it's obscene here. Over his last 5 games, he has attempted at least 25 shots 4 times. 25 shots or more in 4 of the last 5 games. For perspective, Luka Doncic leads the NBA in shot attempts per game at 22. Con Knipple, meanwhile, hasn't attempted 25 shots in a game this season. He's attempted 20 in a game just 3 times. Cooper Flagg, 4 times in the last week and change, 25 shots or more. And it's not because Con Knipple couldn't have better numbers if he got more shots. No, the Charlotte Hornets, he's on a team that's trying. And they have LaMelo Ball. And they have Brandon Miller. They have Miles Bridges. They have other guys to share the basketball with. This is why it's important for those who vote on this award to actually pay attention and not just focus on the stats. Because the lazy thing to do would say, whoa, over the last 5 games, Cooper Flagg is averaging over 33 points per game. He's got to be the Rookie of the Year. 25 shots, at least, in 4 of the last 5. Cooper Flagg winning this award over Con Knippel would be rewarding not winning. It would be a terrible look, considering what the story of this NBA regular season has been. Tanking being a scourge, wanting to fix that problem, wanting to disincentivize losing. We should not reward that behavior. Because here's the other funny thing. During the stretch, these 5 games that he's averaged 33 points per game, the Mavericks are 1-4, and 3 of those 4 losses have been by double digits, including a double-digit loss when Cooper dropped 51 on 30 shots. Now, are we blaming Cooper Flagg? Are we saying Cooper isn't the best talent in this year's rookie class? No, we're not saying any of those things. This isn't Cooper's fault. But if you're the greatest chef in the world, but your restaurant has roaches crawling on the walls, don't expect to be winning any culinary awards. It doesn't matter how good of a chef you are if the roaches are crawling on the walls, and that's the same logic that should be used here with the Rookie of the Year race. Con Knippel's season is what should be celebrated. It's what should be rewarded, because Charlotte, unlike Dallas, they were in a position where they could have tanked, and they decided not to. This was a basketball team 4-14 on Thanksgiving. But rather than tanking, rather than looking at this great draft and saying, you know what, let's punt on this year, they battled into the play-in. They're looking to make their first playoff appearance in 10 years, snapping the largest postseason drought in the league. And Con Knippel's been a big piece of it. And by the way, the numbers on the season, they're not outlandishly different. Cooper Flagg averages 21 a game. Con averages 19. And Con did this playing 12 more games. You want to talk about availability? How much do we hear from the reporters, the NBA media types? We're sick of tanking. We're sick of teams not trying. And we're sick of guys taking nights off when they very well could play. Well, the Charlotte Hornets are trying while the Mavericks are not. Cooper Flagg played in 68 games while Con Knippel played in 80 of a possible 81 games. This needs to be recognized because of the message it would send if it's not recognized. It's the type of crap that turns casuals off from the NBA. Cooper Flagg being celebrated and elevated by putting up garbage time numbers and blowout losses, being Bam Adebayo, the ball forced to him time and time again, while not recognizing the team from a smaller market that is trying, and a player that has had an excellent year, that's played in one of the best stories in the league. That it's so clear who should be celebrated here, and that's why everybody in the league should be punching mad at the idea that Cooper Flagg is favored right now over Con Knippel to win the Rookie of the Year. It's outrageous. 310-840-4910 if you want, and tell us who's in a better position to contend next year, Philadelphia or Green Bay. 310-840-4910. Post the Dontavion Wicks trade. And no matter what happens the rest of the way in Augusta, we know what the top story is. That and your calls next on The Josh Graham Show.
As your official home of the NFL Draft, with exclusive interviews and insight of the draft picks and the team selecting them. Get ready. We're 2 weeks away. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
A couple either-ors we're asking you about. Con Knippel or Cooper Flagg for Rookie of the Year in the NBA. Packers or Eagles, which team has a better shot at contending after the Dontavian Wicks trade we saw on Friday? 310-840-4910 if you want it. It is the Josh Graham Show. Let's go to Dave, who's calling from Clemens, North Carolina. Dave in Clemens, welcome to the Josh Graham Show. Where are you at on Knippel versus Flagg?
What's up, JG? It's Dave in Clemens, the June 4, 2024 Wheel of Fortune heavyweight champion of the world. And let me tell you something. I know about winning in crunch time, and let me tell you who else knows about winning and changing a culture in crunch time, and that is Con Knippel, who should hands down be your NBA Rookie of the Year. Josh, one of the most important basketball stats, the most important to me, is your plus-minus rating. If you look at Cooper Flagg's plus-minus rating, it's minus 276. That means his team gets brutally outscored when he's on the court. Doesn't matter if he's getting buckets or getting rebounds or whatever the heck he's doing. If you look at Con Knippel's plus-minus, when he's on the floor, it's plus 326. That is outstanding and amazing, and that goes above any points per game stat in my book. And having lived here in North Carolina for the last 10 years, the culture in Charlotte has been abysmal at best. That is a losing franchise. And all of a sudden, when we draft Con Knippel 4th overall, the franchise changes. That is a game changer. That is a Rookie of the Year and possibly a future NBA MVP in my book. Book it right now, JG. Con Knippel, Rookie of the Year. Let's go, baby.
Love that. You solved the puzzle. There goes Dave in Clemens, North Carolina, joining us. We do have Graham's Gambling coming up in about 20 minutes. May or may not have a Con Knippel 5-1 to win Rookie of the Year ticket from January, but that's not what this is about. This is about morals and ethics. This is about credibility in basketball for all the reasons that Dave was talking about there. Would love to hear what the reverse position is, though. Would love to hear it, sincerely. 310-840-4910 if you want in. No matter what happens this weekend, the rest of the way at the Masters, Rory McIlroy, he is the story. Rory is the story at Augusta. And this, right now, he leads by 3 shots against Shane Lowry, against Cameron Young. I think I see Haotong Lee has made his way into the 9-under club, 3 back, tied for second place. The Masters is something we look forward to each and every year. And this year it's no different, with Rory, perhaps the most noteworthy golfer on tour, being right at the center of the conversation. Because, hello, friends. Pimentos and cheeses. Fathers and sons. Azaleas blooming. drivers be booming. The Masters, a tradition unlike any other. Thank you for that. Always makes you feel good when you hear the emotional piano. CBS actually just got me earlier today. You know how Tom Rinaldi used to make grown men cry every weekend during college game day on Saturdays? The Masters and CBS just got me with the broadcast open that they did today. In fact, just posted it on my X page at Josh Graham Show if you want to check it out. It got me. Adult tears. It'll make you feel something. But Rory, he had the largest lead going into today that in the 90-year history of players had through 36 holes. He had 9 birdies on Friday. That is the most he's had in a single major championship round. So it's one of 2 stories that we're going to get at Augusta. It's either going to be Rory solidifying himself as the greatest golfer in the world, or it's going to be one of the all-time meltdowns. And it's going to be added to the list of meltdowns that Rory has unfortunately had in his career. So the question that we're asking is, well, what's a bigger story? What would be more noteworthy? That Rory's able to finish this off and win a second consecutive green jacket? Or if he's not able to get it done? Because this is a very difficult tournament to win, obviously. It's the most coveted tournament to win. You don't see a lot of back-to-back winners of this tournament. The last time we had it was 24 years ago. Tiger Woods 01, Tiger Woods 02. Prior to that, it was Faldo in 89 and 90. Don't even know what you get after that. Maybe Jack in the 60s, probably the last time that that's happened. So that's the company you'd be in if you're Rory, in addition to being one of 7 golfers to have won a career slam, which Rory did with that win, that green jacket a year ago. A year ago, see, if you're watching on our video stream, Westwood One Sports Night, you could search on YouTube, you'll see that I got my PGA Championship hat from Quail Hollow last year. Scotty Scheffler won that tournament, won it convincingly. He won a couple of majors last year. Won the PGA, won the Open Championship. He's a U.S. Open win away from becoming the 8th golfer to win a career slam. Might have my numbers off a little bit. Was Rory the 6th or the 7th? If he was the 6th, then Scotty would be the 7th. You understand how math works here. Who's the best golfer in the world? Is it Scotty Scheffler with those 2 major wins, or is it Rory winning back-to-back Masters, hypothetically? Whatever the answer is, it's an incredible situation that golf has. It's an incredible place for the sport to have a modern-day Tiger versus Phil, and it would be fitting if Rory's able to win and give us that question of Rory or Scotty, because neither Tiger nor Phil are in Augusta this week. It's the first time that neither are there, both gone for personal reasons, since 1994. It's a 32-year span that we've had at least one of those two, often both, participating in this tournament. And over those 32 years, those men have won an astounding 25% of the green jackets. Phil Mickelson with 3, Tiger Woods, of course, with 5. Rory does seem more relaxed. He did have a bogey early on, but then got a birdie pretty quickly after that. He's at even par on the 8th hole at the moment, holding off the likes of Shane Lowry and Cam Young and Haotong Lee, who are making this a lot more interesting. It wasn't going to be a complete runaway. It never is from wire to wire. So we'll see. We'll see how he manages. That's what happens if he wins. If he loses, that would be the bigger story. If he melts down and surrenders this lead, then it doesn't even, I won't say it doesn't matter, but outweighing the career slam might be the reputation of being a choker. Would he be in the Gary Norman type category? No. There are levels to this. But even in the Masters win he had a year ago, he's up 2 or 3 shots to start, immediately throws that away. Then goes back in front, seems like he's going to coast going on to the back 9. And then he lets Justin Rose come back to tie him. He still has a chance to birdie a very manageable putt on 18. Can't do that. Has to win in extra holes. Let's not forget 2 years ago, he completely self-destructed at Pinehurst. Should have snapped the 10-year drought at that point of winning a major championship at Pinehurst. That was another U.S. Open. That was another major I was lucky enough to be at and watch up close. Bryson DeChambeau ended up winning that one. This year marks the 15-year anniversary of his absolute disaster at the Masters, where he blew a final round. That was the one where he hit a ball so far left it ended up in somebody's yard, and you had all the announcing crew saying, we've never seen anyone hit a ball that way. Not great. Rory's always had the answers. See, later that year, Rory had the historic win at Congressional in the U.S. Open, but it would be an even bigger story if Rory isn't able to win this than if Rory does win the tournament, winning his 2nd consecutive green jacket. But again, what do you say? 310-840-4910. My name's Josh Graham. This is the Josh Graham Show. However, and wherever you're listening or watching, greatly appreciate that. Couple of housekeeping notes. This segment is sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. They protect small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Will Dalton, see if you can find that photo that you were just telling me about prior to this segment beginning regarding a figure in Chapel Hill that might be newsworthy, that might be noteworthy. Encouraging people to jump on the YouTube stream that we have. Also streaming video on X. You can check us out at Josh Graham Show. Got a poll question up asking who will win the Rookie of the Year. Different question than who should. Who's going to end up winning the award? Right now, 71% of those who have voted at Josh Graham Show say Con Knipple is the answer to that question. And yes, for those watching on YouTube and on X, we've got Chapel Bill. We got Bill Belichick with the founder of the Savannah Bananas. We have that. And he's got the full yellow getup. I love the yellow suit. It's a great move for Jesse Cole. Jesse Cole, who is the owner of the Savannah Bananas. The Bananas, they're playing in Kenan Stadium, Bill Belichick's football stadium at North Carolina. And meanwhile, see, Banana Ball has grown so much. You have other Banana Ball teams that are playing elsewhere, separate of the Bananas, such as the Party Animals. And the voice of the Party Animals, I think he also is the GM as well, Drake Toll, our Drake Toll, that hosts the Drake Toll Show, 6 to 9 a.m. in the mornings, will be joining us next hour from Albuquerque. That's where the Party Animals are at, and naturally he'll have some great stories there. Love how they turn football stadiums into baseball parks. So the Bananas playing, almost said performing, playing in Chapel Hill. That should be a lot of fun. Eric writes in on the chat, Westwood One Sports Night. Hi, Josh. Just remembered, forgot to do that with Dan Hurley in Indianapolis last weekend. Forgot to just go to a presser and say, hi, Dan. Hey, and see if I get the response that Linnell got in D.C. with the peace on what up from Dan Hurley. So a lot going on. Drake Toll, he's going to join us at 5:20 Eastern time. Again, however, and wherever you're listening or watching, appreciate that. The podcast you can find too. If you miss any of our great shows, including what we do during the week, Linnell and I, Westwood One Sports Night is where you go on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Today's Graham's Gambling. It features golf, it features baseball, and it even features the NBA. And we'll get to all of our bets next on The Josh Graham Show.
Imagine a sports platform that talks with you, not at you. Your stories, your opinions, your one destination. This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
The Masters continuing at Augusta National. Our Westwood One Sports team providing updates from the golf course. Shout out to a handful of our friends and our teammates who've been doing an excellent job out that way. Been getting updates from them. Looking at you, Scott Graham, not my dad, but the legendary broadcaster. Ted Emmerich has been a fixture on the course at Augusta. Brian Katrick as well down that way for Westwood One Sports. How about we get on the bets? We need to keep you posted on what we've already got placed and something that we're looking ahead to. We do that right now in Graham's Gambling.
Sitting back, count money all day, you know.
It's time for Graham's Gambling. Let's make some money.
Really, the question is there anybody you would bet on right now to hawk down Rory McIlroy from behind? Anybody? Because the player I identified after round 2, given how his round 1 began, was my pick on Wednesday to win the tournament. Cameron Young, who won the Players last month, hasn't won a major yet, but he was at 4 over par in the first round. On the back 9, he totaled what did he shoot? He shot 33 on the back 9 to get to 1 over par in manageable position through 18 holes. And then on Saturday, he was outstanding. Or on Friday, outstanding. He shot a 5 under to get to 4 under par, 8 back of Rory McIlroy. And right now, he's on 13, and he's shooting 5 under for the day again. So doing some quick math, which, man, this is a dangerous proposition to do that. Through 39 holes, his last 39 holes, Cameron Young is at 13 under par. He is 13 under par for his last 36, or make it 39 holes. And there's still a lot of golf left. He's 3 shots back of Rory. I think that's the guy who might have the best shot. I got him at 23-1 odds to win the Masters. Chris Gotterup had him on a top 10 bet, and don't know if he's going to get there. He's tied for 22nd, but there's a large contingent at 6 under and 5 under there that he can get pretty close to. So that's still very much in play. By Sungjae M, top 20, doesn't look great, but he's still floating his way casually up the leaderboard. He's tied for 27th, actually. Wow, he's at 2 under par. Patrick Reed, top 20, that's a lock. It should be at least. Patrick Reed, he's at 7 under par, tied for 6th. My Corey Connors bet doesn't look good. By Matt Fitzgerald outright, that doesn't look great either. Corey Connors top 10. So that's keeping us accountable on the golf front. Cam Young's still the one that, if you're considering betting someone from behind, that's the guy that you look at. One baseball bet that we had just started. Don't know how this game's going. Haven't paid attention to it yet, but it started in the last half hour or so. The Athletics plus 120 to beat the New York Mets. The A's are tied right now, 1-1, but have the bases loaded with 1 out in Queens, looking to break that one open. The A's are just good. That's a fun, good baseball team. With Jacob Wilson, and you look at Nick Kurtz, who was the Rookie of the Year in the American League this past season. That's just a fun team. Shea Langoliers hits a ton of bombs. Brent Rooker. I really like the A's. And they actually just crossed a run with a sac fly, 2-1 A's in New York. Still have runners on the corners right now, so that bet's looking pretty good. Now, how about a bet that you can actually place at the moment? We've got a bet on the final day of the NBA regular season tomorrow. Will Dalton, tell me how you feel about this. We're jumping on the Nuggets +5 against the San Antonio Spurs. The Nuggets need to win to ensure they have the 3 seed over the Lakers. San Antonio doesn't need to win. Victor is only going to play in 20 minutes of this game. They took him out after playing in 20 minutes. That's what he needs to get to the 65-game threshold and be eligible for NBA awards. I think I'd even take the Nuggets money line too for the same reason, but if you're going to give me 5 points with a team that actually has something at stake versus a team that doesn't, I'm going to do that, especially since the Nuggets are a pretty good basketball team too.
I like that bet a lot. I think
money line or
everything you
just
laid out
plus
right
the
there,
5?
I mean, it makes sense. I'd say plus.
Okay.
Plus 5.
Okay, take the 5. So, Graham's gambling. There you go. Some golf, some baseball, little bits of basketball too. The most popular storyline in Major League Baseball right now, or at least through the first 2 weeks, has been the ABS. That seems to be what everybody wants to talk about. But believe it or not, there is much more happening in Major League Baseball other than the ABS challenge system. In fact, through 2 weeks, there's been some good, there's been some bad, there's been some ugly. Let's start with the good. The NL Central is shaping up to be an absolute wagon. Who's bad in that division? Nobody's playing all that bad. Like the team that was favored to win it, the Cubs who bolstered their rotation, the Cubs who made some moves, they added Alex Bregman to that mix. The Cubs are in last place in the NL Central. They're 6-7 right now, which means everybody else has more than 6 wins. Everybody else has a winning record. In fact, everybody else is either 8-5 or 8-6. So your guess is as good as mine. Who the hell's going to win the NL Central? Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh has been a fun story. They signed Connor Griffin to the long-term deal. Young players there. The Pirates spending. It's good to see that dormant franchise try. To see them try and be rewarded for trying. And the fans, they seem to be responding to it. The St. Louis Cardinals, nobody was talking about the Cardinals going into the year. But they actually, with tiebreakers, would be first place if the season ended today on April the 11th. It's a funny thought. The Milwaukee Brewers there, the Cincinnati Reds, good fun teams, young teams. That's the NL Central is going to be an awesome pennant race. Just got a feeling from start to finish. The bad, several noteworthy teams are off to horrific starts to the season. Horrific. The Seattle Mariners, who are the toast of the AL West. Wow, look at that pitching staff. Whoa! You had some success in the postseason. What's going to be next? 5-9. 5-9 and last place in the AL West at the moment. That's not very good. They even unveiled the Ichiro statue yesterday, and the bat of the statue broke. Will Dalton, don't know if you're a fan of omens or not, but that might be the worst omen out there, that you're not going to have a good season. If you start this type of way and you're in last place already and you unveil an Ichiro statue that's broken.
Me personally, I don't really follow omens, but if I did, this is terrifying. Because the bat, like that stance, like that's his signature. That's the visual you know him from. And it breaks. It's just ridiculous.
Honestly, it reminds me of, see if you can find a picture of this for people to watch on our YouTube at Westwood One Sports Night. It reminds me of the statue in front of the Denver airport. They have in front of the Denver airport, which is a haunted airport. It's haunted. And There's a lot of weird stuff about it. If you want to get stuck down a rabbit hole, you can get stuck down the Denver airport rabbit hole, one of the weirdest airports in America. And one of the facts about this airport is that there is this white marble horse statue that is in front of the airport. And at night, its eyes illuminate, and you could make the eyes any color. What color do they make it? Red, of course. Red, scary, borderline demonic eyes. Yep. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it. And on X, scary demonic horse. And I'll add another adjective, a murderous horse. Because something apparently went wrong with the sculpture, Will, that they needed to bring in the sculptor to adjust it. And apparently something went wrong and the horse fell on the sculptor, killed the sculptor.
Ooh.
So what do? You just you just put it back up. That's what you do. This murderous horse with red eyes in front of the Denver airport. You want to talk bad omens? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course your airport is haunted. Of course your airport is borderline demonic. When you have a killer horse statue out front of your building. It's scary.
I'd be curious to know some other stories or like tragedies or things that have happened at that airport. Like if there's actually
Google
things out there.
Will Dalton,
I
if
will.
you find, you're going to find a lot. In fact, maybe by the end of this segment, you just let me know a fun fact that you learn about the Denver airport. Because I've been in that airport many a time, brother. And weird things happen in the Denver airport. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. The awful starts that some teams have gotten off of, including a team that had a bad statue, the Seattle Mariners. But it's not just them. The Red Sox are 4-9. They're in last place in the AL East. In fact, they got the worst record in the American League right now. Don't know if anybody saw that coming. How about Detroit, who spent all this money on pitching? Yes, let's bring Jack Flaherty back. Yes, we had to pay Tarik Skubal. We lost our arbitration case. You got to pay him more than $30 million for this year. And then you signed Framber Valdez as well, and you're 6-9. Not looking very good. Nope. We mentioned the Cubs are in last place in the NL Central. There are just some teams that we thought were going to be good that aren't actually all that good, it turns out. Which brings us to the ugly. So we've been through the good, the bad, and now the ugly for the first couple of weeks of the baseball season. The Dodgers, they're on track to continue breaking baseball. They have the best record in the sport at 10-3. Last night, Edwin Diaz comes in, 3-run lead, the trumpets and all. He blows the lead. But then Max Muncy, of course, hits his third home run of the game to walk it off at Dodger Stadium. Shohei Ohtani has an on-base streak of 44 straight games. Andy Pages leads baseball in batting average, close to batting .430. They have the largest expectations. They've won the last 2 titles. Their budget is insane. If they win the 3rd straight title and they continue this pace that they're on, we might not see baseball for the next dozen years. Thanks, Dodgers. Thanks, Dave Roberts. Yes, we're blaming you. That's what we're doing. Okay, Will, did you learn anything about the airport in Denver?
Apparently there's like legends of aliens and underground tunnels and things to do with that airport. Yeah. Blucifer. That's what they call. I can't believe that's what they call the statue.
Blucifer?
Yeah. It's a common thing.
Doesn't surprise me. Murderous horse. This is a first.
Lizard people.
So generally we get calls from Mr. Positive, Greg in Michigan. This is the first time we have just a message being passed along. Apparently Mr. Positive is busy on his Saturday, but he wanted us to know the following, Will. Hi. He hung up, but wanted to say hi. To that,
hi.
I say what Eric says. Go for your dreams. And boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka. We say that as well. In response to the question of who's better between the Eagles and Packers post Datavian Wicks trade, I actually think there's a third answer. And I'll tell you what that is next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Sports presents Josh Graham.
Rory McIlroy's Masters lead, which was once 6, is down to 2. Cameron Young, 10 under par, has shot 14 under on his last 38 holes. White hot, storming back after he started the tournament 4 over par in round 1. Moving day getting all the more interesting at Augusta. We have Drake Toll, who's going to be joining us from the Drake Toll Show. Locked on Big 12, Banana Ball, Party Animals, drops by 20 minutes from right now. And we're asking you this question right off the rip. Dontavian Wicks, he's now a Philadelphia Eagle, traded from the Green Bay Packers in exchange for a 5th-round pick. Who is in better standing right now to contend in the NFC? Is it Green Bay or is it Philadelphia? 310-840-4910. We'd love to hear from you. 310-840-4910. Who's in better standing between the Eagles and the Green Bay Packers? Believe it or not, there actually is a third answer to this question, and it's my personal answer: neither. The vibes are not good in either place. Green Bay and Philly, neither of those teams are going to contend. The Dontavian Wicks trade does not move the needle all that much to change that thought. The answer is neither. Let's get through each team. The Eagles, they seem mired in turmoil right now. You made an offensive coordinator change a year after Kellen Moore left following the Super Bowl victory to become the coach of the Saints. It did not go well with Patullo, and we'll see how it goes this time around. You have hit pieces dropping about your quarterback monthly now. You have the media sniffing around A.J. Brown as they've been since the season ended in the divisional round. It seems inevitable that he's going to be moved. Or that might have been week 1 or round 1 of the playoffs. They lost to the San Francisco 49ers. Sometimes you get your weeks mixed up. It does seem like A.J. Brown's going to be moved at some point. The pressure is on Nick Sirianni. He's firmly back on the hot seat with the Eagles. And at the same time, that everybody else in the NFC East feels as if they've taken a step forward. The Eagles look like they've taken a step back. Washington, they hope to be healthier at quarterback and Jaden Daniels. That's a team that went to the NFC Championship just last year. They're going to be better than they were a year ago. Can't imagine they're going to be as bad as they were last year, as much of a disappointment as they were last year. The Dallas Cowboys, a lot to like with them. Linnell Willingham was trying to talk me into Dallas potentially winning this division. I was trying to talk Linnell into the New York Giants. Love the John Harbaugh hire. Love the staff he's put together. A fan of Jackson Dart. You get Malik Neighbors back and healthy. You get Cam Scatabo back and healthy. You have a really good defensive front. You got a top 5 pick. There's a lot to like about the New York Giants. There is not a lot to like about the Philadelphia Eagles. The Green Bay Packers, they've settled. That's what Green Bay's done. And this is what Packer fans have been frustrated about, rightfully. They have settled and accepted becoming a consistently average team. They've accepted this after 3 straight 7 seeds in the NFC playoffs because rather than firing Matt LaFleur, they extended the guy. Other than that one rout of the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs 3 years ago, Green Bay has been atrocious in the postseason. That loss they had to Chicago is as bad as any playoff loss an NFL team has endured this decade. That is horrific how they went down, blowing that lead against your rival, coaching malpractice by Matt LaFleur, and now they're losing both Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks. There are plenty of concerns there for a team that was 9-7-1, playing in a division with, 4 teams winning at least 9 games in it? Come on. It is bad news for for the Green Bay Packers. It's bad news for the Philadelphia Eagles as well. Will Dalton, how do you answer the question? Post on Tavium Wicks, who do you like more, the Eagles or the Packers, or the third option that I just created? Neither.
I don't have a strong opinion, but I do lean Green Bay.
Why?
I just think Jordan Love's going to take another step this year, and I think things are getting a little noisy for Philly. Not sure how they're going to respond to that. The reports around Jalen Hurts. I don't know. It just something about Green Bay feels a little better to me. But I don't really have a strong lean on either, to be fair.
You know what does feel better for me personally? Cameron Young just birdied 15. He is 15 under on his last 39 holes. He is one back of Rory McIlroy. This was my pick to win the Masters. Cameron Young got him at 23-1 odds. So yes, very excited to see Cam Young continue on this tear. Birdied 14. He's now on the 15th tee box at Augusta National. 310-840-4910. We've got Drake Toll that's going to join us in the next 15 minutes. This segment is sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance. They protect small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Tomorrow, Sunday, it is the final day of the NBA regular season, and there's still quite a bit left to be decided on the final day of the season. Quite a bit that needs to be hashed out. The most important spot that's up for grabs is the number 6 position in the Eastern Conference. The Raptors, the Magic, the Sixers, they are all right there. 2 of the 3 will be playing each other in the play-in tournament. 1 of the 3 will avoid the play-in altogether and will be locked in to face the New York Knicks in a 6-3 first-round series. If the Raptors lose, it would be shocking. They're the ones in the driver's seat. They should be the 6th seed. All they have to do is win at home against 20-61 Brooklyn. That team's not trying to win Brooklyn. They've made that clear. All you have to do is win at home against 20-61 Brooklyn. But if they do lose, by some miracle, they do not win. The Magic, they can snag that spot by beating the Boston Celtics in Beantown. If by some happenstance, Toronto and Orlando both lose, then Philly could swoop in just by beating the Milwaukee Bucks on their home court. Elsewhere in the Eastern Conference, we know it's going to be the Charlotte Hornets facing the Miami Heat in the 9-10 game. It's going to be a do-or-die 9 or 10 game. Charlotte needs to beat the Knicks on Sunday to ensure that that do-or-die game is going to be played at the Spectrum Center in Uptown Charlotte, rather than going to the Miami Heat. If Miami wins and Charlotte loses, then that's reversed. In the Western Conference, the number 3 seed is the biggest story. All the Nuggets have to do is beat the San Antonio Spurs in order to get the number 3 spot. But if they lose, and they are underdogs against San Antonio, if they lose, it'll be the Lakers, because LA, they're facing a tanking Jazz team to close the season. It opens the door for the Lakers. The difference between having the 3 seed and having the 4 seed is massive. Because if you're the 3, you would avoid facing Oklahoma City until the conference finals. As good as San Antonio is, you'd much rather draw them than facing the defending champs. And there's hope. There is real hope that San Antonio is going to try to win this game. Victor Wembanyama, he's in the MVP race. It's him, it's SGA. In order to qualify for postseason awards, he needs to play in 20 minutes in this finale. So there is a scenario. He goes nuts. They're trying to win. They're trying to look good. They are favored in this game, and they win the game. So there is hope for your Lakers, Will Dalton. There is. Just a little bit of hope for LA fans like you out there.
Buddy, I'm a Hornets fan. I'm locked in on Charlotte. I'm locked in, baby.
Okay. Well, make sure you lock in that number 9 position. Charlotte will have to win consecutive games in order to get to the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. But wait, there's more seeding drama that we haven't gotten to. The Blazers and Clippers, they're tied for the 8 seed with Portland holding the tiebreaker. Playing in the 7-8 game gives you 2 shots at advancing to the playoffs versus the do-or-die 9-10 game that Charlotte's playing in the East. Portland is hosting the Sacramento Kings, while the Clippers are at home against the recently healthy Steph Curry and the Warriors. It almost seems like that the Warriors want to get into the lottery, because if you're a believer in conspiracies, where is Conspiracy Josh at? Is Conspiracy Josh somewhere? If you're a believer in conspiracies, Will, if you thought the NBA did a solid to the Mavericks last year in getting them Cooper Flag, you don't think the league would like for the Golden State Warriors to get the number 1 pick?
Could you imagine the outrage? Ugh.
They're not going to see the league. Even if they do manipulate it, Will, they wouldn't do that because that would be too blatant. And they also understand there's no Cooper Flag in this draft. So it's the odds of getting into the top 4. I think to get the number 1 pick, if they lose in the play-in, they'd have a 2% chance of getting the number 1 pick. It would be a 10% or an 11% chance of them getting in the top 4. Like, that's justifiable. What are you talking about? Yeah, that's like a 10 or an 11% chance at getting into the top 4. So you watch, they're going to end up picking 4 or 3 in a draft where you have 4 players that stand out more than anybody else. So that way you get Cam Boozer, or you get Devonta won't fall there, but a Darren Peterson, you get a Caleb Wilson, you get one of those types of players go into Golden State, or you do what the Cavaliers did and use the number 1 pick that they miraculously got in the Wiggins draft, as you use that as a chip to potentially, I don't know, maybe land Giannis and attract LeBron in the offseason. Just saying. Just throwing some things together, some ideas here, throwing that out there. So it doesn't seem that the Warriors are all that interested in winning. In whole, this is the good news for the NBA. In whole, 9 of the 15 games that we've got on Sunday to close the regular season, they have postseason ramifications. That's not normal for the NBA. So that's a really good thing. It's a healthy thing for the sport. It's something that you really like to see and want to see more of, honestly. Rory McIlroy birdies 10 to reestablish a 2-shot lead on Cameron Young. This is becoming a bit of an adventure, because Jason Day, Shane Lowry, Sam Burns, they're all at 8 under. 3 shots back of Young, who's 2 shots back of McIlroy. Seems that that's going to be our final grouping. Those 2. McIlroy, the reigning champion of the Masters. Cam Young, looking for his first major. Shout out to Wake Forest Golf. And a guy who won the Players last year. Was a trendy pick a little bit. Honestly, was close to not picking him because of how trendy of a pick it was, but couldn't avoid it. He's had some success in the past at Augusta. Drake Toll of Banana Ball, locked on Big 12, and the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports. He says that he wants to talk about the Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel situation. Before we ask him about that, let's go to Mitch, who's in New Jersey. 310-840-4910. Mitch, where are you at on the Lakers and their chances at getting the 3 seed? Does it matter that much?
Hey, Josh. Yeah, it kind of doesn't matter. All the injuries. Had they gotten, they locked up the 3 seed, or it was the 4th seed. At least they got the home field advantage. They just can't overcome these injuries. They're one of the best backcourts. LeBron, maybe this makes them keep LeBron for next year. I wish they get into Larry because they could use a small forward and another guy on the bench. What do you think? And they made an effort, but all the injuries just caught up. This is the fastest one and done.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it, Mitch. I'm going to defer that question to the show's resident Laker fan, Will Dalton, talking about the Lakers' chances and what they need. You know, hey, saw some quotes about how much LeBron and Luke Kennard are getting along because of basketball IQ. They're both so wicked smart.
He's going to Cleveland. That's what's going to happen. It's inevitable.
Even if Giannis is in Golden State and there's a path there, just saying. Gonna throw it out there. Hate that expression. I
think he's going to Cleveland.
Saying. It's annoying.
One last dance.
Drake Toll, a banana ball, and Locked On, and Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, weekday mornings. As mentioned, he wants to talk about Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel. I'm too uncomfortable to talk about it. So he will want to talk about it. We'll oblige him when he joins us from Albuquerque next on The Josh Graham Show.
Will Alabama QB Ty Simpson be picked in the first round? The Jets, Cardinals, and Steelers have been mentioned as fits for the pocket passer. The NFL Draft starts April 23rd. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Banana Ball, top of mind for us today on the Josh Graham Show, Westwood One Sports, because 90 minutes from where I sit in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the Savannah Bananas are going to be playing inside Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill tonight. Sounds like a fun date night for Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. That does sound kind of fun. She'd probably be into it.
She's at a cheer competition this weekend. Sorry. I don't mean to burn, but insider information. She's at a cheer competition.
That voice that's joining our segment, though, is the other reason we're thinking about Banana Ball, because it is joining us from New Mexico. Yeah. The announcer for the Banana Ball is Party Animals, Drake Toll, who, of course, is the host of the Drake Toll Show weekday mornings on Westwood One Sports. He's also a cheerleading enthusiast, thus knowing the schedule of Jordan Hudson's adult cheerleading team.
Specifically adult cheerleading. I want to be clear. Adult cheerleading is more my forte here.
It's the best kind. It's the best kind. It's also the kind that will keep us employed by saying that we're okay with. Yep. That's it. Drake, how lovely is Albuquerque this time of year?
Gosh, man, Albuquerque and I go back and forth. I have my qualms every now and then. We're cooking up in the lab here some crystal vibes, if you will. They do call the home of the Albuquerque Isotopes the lab. Crazy. I always try to do something adventurous when I go to a new city. Well, I've already hot air ballooned in Albuquerque. I've already had a beer here before in my life. I want to do something even crazier last night. I went to the New Mexico San Diego State baseball game. Got in a fight with the team parent. Heckled the umpires, forced New Mexico to use their second and final challenge, which they lost. That's on me. I told them I'd read the rule book and they needed to challenge it. I was wrong. And then New Mexico walks it off. 2-run home run that bounces off the top of the wall and out. That would have been a pop-up, a 250-foot pop-up anywhere else, a fly ball, but it's the mountains. So the ball just carries. I'm having a blast.
Why did you get in the fight with a team parent?
So it was me and the team parents of this game. No fans wanted to watch New Mexico Lobos baseball. It was just me and the people who love and support their coaches and sons and players on the field. And yeah, there was a moment where I thought he went, check swing. I was like, man, he's there. We gotta ring him up. We have to by rule. And the dad was like, who are you, huh? Who are you? It's like, oh, you'll find out. Come to find out, he's a team parent. He's just rooting for his son. So shout out to big calves, man. He had like tattoos everywhere. It's pretty awesome.
Drake Toll with us. Drake Toll Show you could listen to 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern time on weekday mornings, Westwood One Sports. This is a question I've always had about you, Drake. With your Banana Ball work, how has this changed your relationship with Major League Baseball? What's your usual intake? Do you have a team?
Huge Texas Rangers fan. So it was cool. A month after the Rangers win their first and only World Series, I get hired here and go from following 162 games, covering the Rangers pretty closely that year, to now being thrown at a Banana Ball. And the first thing that got me hooked, my first week in Savannah on, wow, I can love baseball and Banana Ball, was Jesse Cole, the owner in the yellow tuxedo, said, hey, we want to let everybody here know youth baseball 2019 to 2024 is down 20%. That's the most of any major sport. Kids are not playing baseball now due to travel ball, due to the expense, due to a lack of fun. We've taken fun out of baseball in a lot of ways. So for me, it was, this isn't killing baseball. This is trying to grow the sport, get kids interested again in traditional baseball. This isn't a competition. It's a completely different thing that's built for attention to the sport of baseball that we all love, that we all played, that we all broadcast, where we all worked in. And the players agreed. Last night, Jackie Bradley Jr., you may know him, two-time World Series winner, Boston Red Sox, hit with a cycle. You know, like I'm watching guys who are baseball blue bloods through and through. Oh, by the way, when he hit for the cycle, on the field coaching one team was Shane Victorino. On the other side, Ryan Howard. So if those guys who I know love baseball and had great illustrious baseball careers can bind a banana ball, why can't I, as somebody who considers themselves a baseball traditionalist and likes baseball? So it's made me watch even more Major League Baseball and appreciate what baseball is and how it's different from what banana ball gives you.
Yes, what I love about banana ball is how chaotic it is. Baseball isn't usually a sport that gets labeled as being chaotic, and banana ball is chaos in a positive way. But with that in mind, your job is to help bring to us the party animals, and you're with them in the broadcast booth. What does broadcast prep look like for banana ball broadcasts?
Yeah. So the cool part about my job is getting to be front office Savannah Bananas. My email reroutes Drake at thesavannahbananas.com or Drake at thepartyanimalz.com. It's for some reason we have all the domains wrapped into one. And so I get to learn from some of the most impressive people in the world while I at the same time have the onus to help build this auxiliary brand, the second brand of Banana Ball. There are now 6 teams, so the Party Animals feel more established in-house. But to expose the world to more than just the Savannah Bananas and Banana Ball, the onus is on us and the Party Animals camp to grow that. And I've always been a big fan of the underdog. If I walk in day one with the Bananas, they're established, they're built. The Party Animals still have a lot of room to grow, and we're seeing that come to fruition this year. So for me, this is growth of the sport more than anything, even more than maybe growth of the Party Animals. It's about growth of the sport. The prep that goes into this is finding, hey, this team is 3 trick plays away from being the first team to 100 trick plays in a season. And that leads to the first question of, well, what is a trick play? Great. I can answer that too. It starts to spark these little intricacies of banana ball that people begin to understand, and the rules don't become so complicated and complex anymore. So broadcast prep is different, no doubt. I'm learning a song right now in French that I can sing for the live crowd. I'm learning multiple different languages to incorporate in our broadcasts every weekend because it garners viewerships and new audiences. And we believe that attention beats marketing 100% of the time, 100% of the time. So while I still have my stats written down, you're going to get a lot of like today, I'm going to say aerial tramway on the broadcast as an homage to my new vocal stem and SNL sketch that I've watched 17 times.
We're not in the business of trampling on the full live performance, but can you, as a tease, give me a piece of what you've learned from that French song?
I can give you my Spanish. Well, the French one's not radio ready, but the Yo sé bien que estoy afuera, pero día que yo me muera, sé que tendrás que orar. Hits every time. So just want to throw that one out there.
That's pretty good. It does make me want to fight in the street when I see people compare banana ball to, like, say the Party Animals to the Washington Generals and the dynamic with the Harlem Globetrotters, because that then suggests that, well, the Washington Generals always lose. That's not what you get in banana ball, right?
No, the Party Animals won the 2025 Banana Ball World Tour, which is so cool. And so the Bananas are obviously, they're still the stalwart. They're the brand that brought this whole thing up. And at the same time, the competition, Jackie Bradley Jr. playing for the Indianapolis Clowns, or a guy like Jake Skoll for the Party Animals, who was the MVP of the league last year, was the number 15 overall draft pick for the Texas Rangers in 2010. You don't get drafted 15th overall if you aren't really good at baseball. So you've got guys that are all pro athletes out here that aren't playing for the Bananas, that are helping these other teams compete and contend at the top of what is a brand new sport. I should also say, with this, for me in building this exposure, and even now working for Westwood One, if I called the population of Valonia, Arkansas, which wouldn't take me that long, it's only 3,000 people, I can make those phone calls in a couple days, and I said, hey, I just got hired as the voice of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They'd be like, 50-50 shot that they really are dialed into Arizona Diamondbacks games, or they're watching on Bally Fan TV plus Sports Now. But that same population of people, small town, backwoods Arkansas, and they wear backwoods as a badge of honor, by the way. You say, hey, I work for the Savannah Bananas. Somehow they all know what it is. Like the growth of this brand has been so impressive over the last couple of years. People are starting to understand that it's not, even though the Bananas that premier brand, it's not a competition where they win every time. They lose as much as they win, which is a really cool piece of what we do.
Drake Toll's with us here. Indianapolis Clowns might be my favorite name as a nod to the old Negro Leagues, and it reminds me of one of my favorite facts about the city I live in. 18-year-old Hank Aaron in 1952 signed his first professional contract in Winston-Salem, meeting with the Indianapolis Clowns management at that time. He got put on a bus from Alabama to Winston-Salem to meet with the Indianapolis Clowns in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and that's where he signed that contract. Drake Toll is with us here, shifting things to football, well, kind of.
Uh-oh.
I haven't talked about the Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel situation. I know you have, and I'm sure whatever opinion you have, I'm going to then steal and inherit as my own. So
good.
Where are you on this?
I am. The most frustrating part of this is that I turn on national TV networks. I quad box the major sports brands in the mornings. I turn on the Josh Graham show. You know who's not talking about it? A lot of these national networks are avoiding this topic, and for Josh Graham, much different reason than many of these. For a lot of them, it's, oh, well, we've worked with Diana before. Oh, we don't want to lose access to New England. Oh, we don't want to lose access to Mike Vrabel. Oh, we don't want to poke the bear too much. And so a large portion of these major networks are not following a story where the New York Times is probing their top senior writer for the National Football League because she was found interlocking fingers with her, just a friend. You got what I need. They're interlocking fingers. You threatened to tickle me. And it was so jarring that this was weeks ago on my show. It was so jarring that we still bring it up. Imagine if we'd interlocked fingers. That's even bigger than tickling. And then
hold one second, though. The part that I find interesting about your framing, though, is the reason why I'm bringing this up now and it's newsworthy is because of the name you haven't brought up yet. It's you focus on Diana Rossini, but is it the bigger story, the married NFL head coach who's doing this?
Right. It is the twofold of one person's career could be ruined forever for doing the exact same thing as the other person. And the worst thing that could happen to the other person is divorce, Tammy Wynette. That's about it. Like if he gets divorced, that's the NFL is not going to do anything to Mike Vrabel. The Patriots won't do anything to Mike Vrabel, but he's such a Patriot way culture guy. Like, coach, Skip, what are you doing having a 90-minute breakfast and a hot tub soiree with Diana Rossini? What in spicy Sedona? So this Sedona Gate, Sedona scandal, Foxy Foxborough, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to dub this one. To me, the onus on us being able to start the day, I've used onus 3 times now, being able to start the day to tell America, our 300 affiliates across the country that, hey, a lot of people aren't talking about this at the national level, but it's blowing up on Twitter because regular everyday people are saying, hey, this is an issue. This is a problem. We want to talk about that. Bring democracy into our sports coverage. Someone say something about this. And so we've talked about it ad nauseum this week. I think that both of them, this is a bad look, and we'll see how the investigation comes out. But man, what a weird, random, and now all these clips and sound bites of her really not liking her husband. We did a top 5 weirdest Diana Rossini things she said about her husband on the show this week, and it was an incredible segment. We could have done a top 15. It's got oddity and conflict, my 2 favorite things. It's odd, and there's a ton of conflict in the middle of it, and so I've been all over it this week.
And random Tammy Wynette references, which is a great pull on your part. Drake Toll, I expect nothing less. What is the most charitable explanation you can give to the photos? Like, if you were trying to be as charitable as possible to the parties involved, what is the most charitable you can be?
You know, sometimes my friends who are girls, my girl comma friends, they will text me and they'll say, hey, I'm 2 hours away from you in Sedona. Would you like to come interlock fingers and sit in the hot tub with me? I have a loving and committed girlfriend. She's fine with it. She's like, hey, you should go interlock fingers with them and hug them and sit in the hot tub with them. And so I do it often. This is like an every couple weeks thing. I'm just in Sedona at the Ambient Resort. Again, I'm hugging. Sometimes I'm having a 90-minute breakfast. It happens. So if I could give any reprieve to this, it's that, hey, like Mike, if you're listening, we've all been there before. Diana, I'm a big interlocking fingers guy. I do it with all my friends, particularly female as well. It just feels like I can connect to them on a friend level more. And, again, if you aren't interlocking fingers and hugging your platonic friends, you probably are the problem.
Yeah. Also, I don't know how much NFL experience you have, but I covered the Panthers for 7.5 years. It's a normal thing to interlock fingers with the head coach that you cover. Dave Canales and I, Ron Rivera and I, big interlocking fingers.
If Tom Brady can kiss his son on the lips, why can't Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini? That's my question, and no one seems to have an answer. That's my concern today.
Matt Rule objected to the interlocking fingers, by the way.
Which is crazy because I worked next to Rule for a year in Waco, and we interlocked fingers all the time.
What?
Yes, we did.
Now I've got issues. Now. I didn't even know. Next time you make the divorce song reference, I would prefer, rather than Tammy Wynette, you go with Divorce Separation Blues by the Avett Brothers.
Good. The Big D, Mark Chestnut. Come on, there are a lot of them out there.
Mm-hmm. By the way, on the way out, how did you discover the Avetts? Because it became clear our relationship really formed around you going to the New Year's show and it becoming clear that you knew ball in that instance.
Yeah, it would have been 2010, 2011. Dad comes back from a trip to North Dakota to hunt, or maybe it's Iowa, one of those random states, and random beautiful states where our affiliates are awesome and we love them. And he comes back from a quail hunt, pheasant hunt, and burned onto one of these CDs was November Blue Live, or November Blues, named two separate things, two different times by the Avets, and fell in love with the song and ultimately fell in love with the Avett Brothers. And then John Prine, and then Doc Watson, and then Ralph Stanley. And not to say those are all in the same category either, because I don't believe they are, but they're all really good music with incredible songwriting and melodies that'll seal your heart. And so became a big Avett Brothers fan 15, 16 years ago and have never looked back.
Drake Toll, have a great broadcast in Albuquerque tonight. Thanks for doing this. We look forward to hearing you on Monday.
Josh Graham, always a pleasure. I'm hearing we'll have you on my show 5 times next week. So excited to see you all 5 of those days.
Coming up, how one NBA award race has become a farce. This is the Josh Graham Show.
As your official home of the NFL, we'll take you inside the NFL Draft with exclusive interviews and insight of the draft picks and the team selecting them. Get ready. We're 2 weeks away. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
The Josh Graham Show is reacting to the Masters Moving Day, where we have a new leader moving to the top of the board. Cameron Young is at 11 under par, started the day at 4 under. He took a step back, actually, on 15 by hitting it into the water. But then Rory McIlroy did the same, and he doubled. And then he followed that up with another bogey. So on 17, Cam Young is at 11 under par. Rory McIlroy's on Amen Corner and just completed 12. He's at 10 under par. That is crazy. Another thing that is crazy, Cooper Flagg is currently the betting favorites to win the Rookie of the Year award in the NBA. Somebody explain this to me as if we're 5-year-olds here. He should not be in consideration for NBA Rookie of the Year, much less be in the betting favorite. Con Knipple should win this award, and it should already be a wrap. It's crazy that this is even a discussion. The Mavericks have turned this Rookie of the Year race into an absolute farce because they're tanking. This is a tanking basketball team with literally nothing else to play for, so they're force-feeding Cooper to get him the Rookie of the Year award. It's the full Bam Adebayo treatment, and this is more obscene, frankly, because it's over weeks that we're seeing this. Over the last 5 games, Cooper Flagg has attempted at least 25 shots 4 times. 4 times in the last 5 games. For perspective, Luka Doncic leads the NBA in shot attempts per game at 22. That's Luka. This is a rookie in Cooper Flagg. Meanwhile, to put it in perspective, Con Knippel, he hasn't even attempted 25 shots in a game this entire year. 80 games, no game where he attempted 25 shots. And is that because he's not good enough to attempt that many shots? Of course not. No, he plays for a team that's trying, with LaMelo Ball on it, and Brandon Miller, and Miles Bridges. And this is why it's important to have voters and have media actually pay attention and not just count stats. Pay attention to the game. Because it would be so easy, and it's lazy, to simply look at the stats and say, whoa, over the last 5 games, he's averaging 33 a game. Whoa, he averages 2 more points per game than Con Knippel does, his college teammate at Duke a year ago. Cooper winning this award, if it were to happen, Cooper to win this award over Con Knippel, it would be rewarding not winning. That's what it would be. And it would be a terrible look for the NBA, considering the story of this regular season has been tanking and wanting to fix it. Tanking being a scourge. We want to discourage that behavior. During this stretch, it's important to note, the stretch where Cooper's had 33 a game, the Mavs are 1-4 in that stretch with double-digit losses in 3 of the 4 losses, including the game where Cooper dropped 51. Because people will show the highlights. Oh, no teenagers ever had 51. And they lost by double digits. He attempted 30 shots in that game. This isn't Cooper's fault, for the record. He's the best talent to come out of the draft. No one's really denying that. But this is kind of like if you're the greatest chef on the planet, but the restaurant you work in has roaches crawling on the walls. It's not really the chef's fault that that's the case, but don't expect to win any culinary awards regardless of how good of a chef you are. Con Knippel's season is what should be rewarded. It's what should be celebrated. Because the Charlotte Hornets, they were in a position where they could be tanking. They could do exactly what the Mavericks are doing right now. Look at the draft and say, oh, it's a really good draft. We're just going to punt. This team was 4-14 on Thanksgiving. But rather than mailing it in and shipping away all their parts, this team battled into a play-in position. They're looking to make their first playoff appearance in a decade, snapping the largest postseason drought in the league. And the other piece, what's another thing that people complain about? You have folks complaining, oh, these guys, they don't play enough. Oh, they take too many nights off. Con's averaging 19 a game, 2 fewer points than Cooper's inflated 21. And this is despite having a larger sample size, which generally weighs. He's played in 12 more games than Cooper. Con has played in 80 of a possible 81 games for the Charlotte Hornets. And that needs to be recognized by the NBA. And it would be a joke. It would be absurd if it wasn't. 310-840-4910. Let's go to Carl, who's in Chicago. Carl, where are you at on Cooper Flagg versus Con Knippel in the Rookie of the Year debate?
Well, me personally, I'm just going to go with Cooper Flagg. And the reason is, maybe like voters will be thinking, is it's not the most valuable Rookie of the Year. It's just essentially the Player of the Year. I could only think, when you were talking, I was just thinking as a Cubs fan, when McGuire hit 70 home runs, he was the Offensive Player of the Year, but Sosa was the MVP because the Cardinals weren't in the playoff hunt. But then I go back to Andre Dawson in 1987. I believe he hit 49 homers and had like 140 RBIs for a team that won like 70 games, I want to say, was in last place, but they gave the MVP to him. So those kind of contrast each other. I don't know what you think.
I don't even know. Hold 1 sec. I don't even know if Con's the most valuable player on his team. So I'm not making a value argument. I'm making an argument that Con Knippel had a better season than Cooper Flagg. That's my argument.
Right, and what's unfortunate is that when they take what the voters take into consideration is obviously going to be statistics, but they don't take into consideration, defensive plays, screens, blocking out so your teammate can get a rebound. There's a lot of those things that just that's not criteria that's taken into consideration. So I guess I would say, based on the criteria it is, maybe you could do a deep rabbit hole search on what's in the play, or what's in like the NBA rulebook on what is the criteria that the voters use. And I understand the point. I think if Flagg's the better player, he's just going to get the award. I personally would agree with that. I think if he was on the Hornets, he'd still be putting up better numbers than Knipple is now on the Hornets. And I'm actually going to ask you, next year, I'm going to put out here now that Mo Johnson will be the Rookie of the Year next year for one of the worst 15 teams in the league. And I'm curious what you think about that and who you think the top 3 picks are next year.
All right. Thank you so much for the call, Carl.
You're welcome.
Think, for the record, I say this as somebody who was talking to Moretz Johnson in the locker room Monday night at Michigan. He prefers Retz rather than Mo. It's Retz Johnson. And he'd be a fabulous player a year from now. And honestly, a big part of the reason, it's a good question you ask, because honestly, the draft, a lot of the tanking we're seeing because of this draft, it has a lot to do with how deep the draft class is, sure, but it also has to do with next year's class not being all that loaded whatsoever. I don't know if you've looked at some of the names, Will, that might be at the top of the NBA draft for 2027. It's not very sexy. Like, it's not, we're not looking at it saying, whoa. Like, you have some high school players who are okay. Dylan Mingo, who might be a North Carolina Tar Heel. I think Notre Dame has the number 1 prospect, Tyron Stokes. It makes me believe what Carl was kind of noting there, that it might be a returning player. It might be a returning player that is the number 1 pick. And I don't remember the last time we saw that. And this is why it does seem that Caleb Wilson's leaving North Carolina to go to the draft, and that's understandable. But if one of these great freshmen will decide, you know what, I loved my experience in college. One of these top guys. Looking at Mikael Brown, which I don't think it's going to be. He was just trying to get to the finish line. But like Keaton Wagler going to the Final Four, or, yes, Caleb Wilson, or even a guy like, it's certainly not Darren Peterson. He's just trying to get to the league as well. If one of those top freshmen decided, I want to come back for next year, I think they'd immediately be the number 1 prospect in the draft. Because one of the fears you have in returning to school is the risk you assume in draft position. In a draft that focuses so much on potential and upside, well, you staying another year could dock you out of the lottery. And I think with the draft being as unimpressive as next year's class looks in 2027, I don't think there's as much risk. I think one of these guys could decide to come back, and I hope they do. I hope one of these guys say, you know what, that's a lot of NIL money that I'm going to pick up, and there's not a lot of risk because I'm going to go high in the draft regardless, and I love my experience in college, and I'm going to come back and be the biggest star in the sport for another year. I hope somebody does that. And I'm not predicting that's going to happen, but it certainly wouldn't surprise me. It certainly wouldn't surprise me at all.
If any of the freshmen were going to do it, I would think it'd be Caleb Wilson. Don't see
I agree.
that. But that's why I think it's good that Juke Harris is likely going to Michigan. He's not a freshman, but I think
we
that's
need to
smart.
talk about that because that's big news in college basketball. I was out at the Final Four in Indy. This has been a crazy eventful week in college basketball. And we hit on it all on the Josh Graham Show. That's on the way next.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
It's been a hotly debated subject. Con Knippel, Cooper Flagg, college roommates at Duke last year. Who should be the rookie of the year? Cooper Flagg is the betting favorite with one game left to go between the two. 310-840-4910 if you want to chime in on the topic. Let's go to Matt, who joins us here on the Josh Graham Show. He's in North Carolina, as am I. I'm in Winston-Salem, North Carolina specifically. Matt, does that mean we can safely assume what side of this debate you're on? You're siding with Con.
I would love to, and I am a Hornets fan, and I am a huge Con fan. I love what he's done for the team. If I take off my Hornets colored glasses, objectively, I think it's Cooper should win the award. He is the better player. I don't think there's much of a question about it. If you said to the Charlotte Hornets, hey, I'll trade you Con for Cooper straight up, no question they would say yes. And everybody would say, Dallas, you're insane.
Here's the question. But here's the question. This is the issue with that argument. It's not asking who the better player is. It's asking who had the better season. It's the Rookie of the Year award. That's the question we're asking here. Like, if it was the best player, then at what point does production not matter? Like, should LeBron James have just won the MVP every single year last decade? Because even if players had better years, because you would trade for LeBron James over Steph Curry or over Kevin Durant, that means we just have to give the guy the award.
I understand that. Con, there's an argument he's had the better season. He also has obviously been on a much better team. I think I saw something earlier in the season, like 90-something% of his three-point makes were off of an assist. And there is a skill into getting open and using screens the right way to do that. But still, he has benefited greatly from being, having LaMelo finally be healthy and Brandon Miller.
But listen to what you're saying out loud, Matt. Matt, you're saying we need to take seriously. This is the part where we need to remove ourselves from where we're at in the state of North Carolina. Because, by God, you just made a case saying that we can't say a Hornet can win Rookie of the Year because they're too talented around him. We're talking about a 9 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. What are you talking about? They haven't made the playoffs in a decade. This isn't the Warriors with Kevin Durant.
When you put it like that, it is kind of a crazy argument because I think Con Knippel has done a lot for the team and in affecting the culture of the team, bringing winning habits, and that's crazy to say about a rookie. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't call it to win it, but I wouldn't have a problem. I understand there's it's not that like great gap between the two as an argument. I have a question for you though. Would you be hugely objective to this being one of the seasons where we have Rookie of the Years? It hasn't happened last time. Elton Brand and Steve Francis, I think.
Yeah,
you hate
that's
that
a good
idea.
question, and I appreciate the call, Matt. I'm against co-MVPs. I'm against co-winners. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Pick somebody. Pick somebody to win. That's it. Sometimes you have to make difficult decisions. Will Dalton, at some of these big-time companies like IBM or whatever, they have to make major decisions that affect millions of people and affect shareholders and all of that. And do you know what they don't have the ability to do? Well, let's do both. No. You pick one. Pick one. You have 82 games to base it off of. I'd be more mad at co-winners than I would be if Cooper Flagg won the award. Co-winners is awful. Get it out of here. Throw it in the trash. Hate it.
Well, it's kind of a cop-out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like,
pick
you gotta
one.
pick one. They're not the same. They're not identical, even though they could be similar if they were. But again, at the end of the day, you got to pick one.
Pick one.
That's the way it is.
What a week it's been for the best sport in the world, college basketball. Was courtside, personally, for the national championship game on Monday night. Michigan won the national championship. We have this sound. In the post-game locker room, this exchange I had with Wolverine star Namari Burnett It was the highlight of my night in Indianapolis, and here's how that sounded. We can get to it in just a bit when we circle that back up. Michigan, they're having their victory parade in Ann Arbor. The ratings for the national championship game, they're in. Average viewership of 18.3 million. That is the most watched college game. That is the most watched NBA game this decade. Most watched. College is in a really good place. And I came away from Indianapolis completely in awe of our Westwood One Sports team. Such an impressive operation. You're not going to find many better than Kevin Kugler, PJ Carlissimo, Robbie Hummel, Andy Katz, our on-air talent. That's just one piece of it. But behind the scenes, people that you wouldn't know by name, it is amazing the lengths, the efforts that go into making that broadcast happen and it meeting the standard that's been set so high over the decades at Westwood One, making us the premier home of national play-by-play, home of the Final Four, home of the Super Bowl, all of that. Had a chance to sing some karaoke with some Westwood One execs. The Hinkle Fieldhouse trip, made a stop at Lowe's to get a tape measure in order to recreate the Hoosiers moments, the Hoosiers scene, because, of course, at the end of Hoosiers, when they go to the championship, you got to measure it, confirm it's 10 feet with Gene Hackman and such. So we did all that. It was great being at the national championship game, and what a game it was. Michigan beating the UConn Huskies. North Carolina, they obviously hired NBA head coach Michael Malone. In addition to Michigan's win, this headlines dominated the week. Fascinating hire by the Tar Heels, which is a much better move, personally, in my opinion, than paying a huge buyout to hire an underwhelming choice like Iowa's Ben McCollum or Vanderbilt's Mark Byington. Malone, he was going to be up for NBA jobs, whether it was, the Pelicans or Orlando. That presents an interesting question. Is an NBA job better than a blue blood job in college basketball in 2026? Which of those is more valuable? Which is better? The hire has been approved of by the Carolina family. The program learned today that they're going to retain one of the 5-star high school freshmen that had committed to Hubert Davis. So that's good news. And the portal, it opened after the championship game on Monday night. Michigan already getting busy. We were mentioning Juke Harris, a transfer from Wake Forest, who had averaged over 20 points per game in the ACC this past season. He's in a Michigan jacket at the Michigan Parade today. They added J.P. Estrella, one of the premier bigs on the transfer market from the Volunteers. If Retz Johnson's back, like Elliot Cadeau, watch out. Adi Mara hasn't said for sure whether or not he's going to the NBA, but Estrella's decision to go to Ann Arbor probably tips their hand a little bit, or at least tells us how Michigan views that decision by Mara. The prize of the portal seems to be Kansas center Flory Badunga. He's going to be visiting Duke this weekend. If Duke lands Flory Badunga, that would be the Blue Devils' biggest splash in the transfer portal ever. This is a team that hasn't done a lot, really, in the portal. They've been high school heavy with their recruiting, like a Cooper Flagg and a Con Knipple, like a Cameron Boozer and his brother Caden. And you look at the guys on this team, these are high school recruits that they've been bringing in. I don't even know who the best transfer portal addition has been for Duke. Last year, it might have been adding Cedric Coward from Washington State, but then he had such a good workouts at the NBA scouting combine that he said, I'm going to keep my name in the draft, and he ended up being a lottery pick and a pretty good rookie with the Memphis Grizzlies. So maybe that's the answer, even though he never arrived on campus in Durham. But with the portal opening up and North Carolina hiring Michael Malone and Michigan winning the title, it's been quite a week. Let's go into the locker room. This was that exchange I noted that might have been the highlight of my weekend in Indy, talking to Namari Burnett, the star from the Wolverines, after the game.
You always dream of cutting down the net, of standing on that stage, listening to One Shining Moment and seeing the confetti fall. What part did it feel real, or has it?
It felt real because I felt like we deserved it and we put in so much time, but what didn't feel real was just the emotion. Just like so many tears of just letting it all out, because knowing how hard I worked for this moment, knowing how hard these guys worked for this moment, and knowing that we were dedicated to doing it from game 1 to game 40, from the preseason where we played Cincinnati and St. John's, that we were dedicated to winning national championship.
How much sweeter does that cookie taste as a national champion?
This cookie is amazing. I'm going to eat some more later and just celebrate with my team and eat some more.
I might have to grab one.
You might. I think you should before it runs out of luck.
Sadly, they did run out of cookies. By the way, on video, which I posted on X, he's chomping into the cookie right after that question was asked. It was a snickerdoodle cookie. It looked really good. And I went looking around for the snickerdoodle cookies, and they were out at that point. But yes, Damari Burnett just chomping on a cookie, sitting at his locker with a piece of the net that he just cut down, winning the national title in his championship hat. That's about as good as it gets. This segment is sponsored by our friends at Progressive Commercial Insurance. They protect small businesses with affordable coverage options. Get a quote today at progressivecommercial.com. This has been a frustrating weekend to root for my beloved Baltimore Orioles, Will. It's frustrating on a few counts. Number one, if I wasn't in Indianapolis this past weekend, I'd be in Baltimore this weekend because my BFF, Ron Washington, he is the associate manager of the San Francisco Giants with Tony Vitello, was invited to have dinner, invited to hang out in the dugout pregame, going to games, watching the Orioles face the San Francisco Giants. So that's one piece of the frustration. The second piece is last night's game was on Apple TV, and I'm not a TV show person. Sorry, I'm not going to watch Severance. I'm not going to watch Ted Lasso. Don't tell me how good it is. I don't care. I don't watch TV shows. Sorry. Don't have time for that. So I watch a lot of sports. In order to do this job, got to watch quite a bit of it. So I'm trying to watch the Oriole game on Apple TV. I don't have a connection. My dad's with me. He doesn't have a login. Friends don't have a login. Yes, I'm doing the thing that you're not supposed to do. So instead, I just, we dropped the $12. Say, all right, we're gonna do this to watch the Orioles play tonight because that's what we want to do on our Friday night prior to the show starting, Westwood One Sports Night. And then the Orioles get drilled by the Giants, and I'm not going to use it for anything else. $12, just down the drain. Watching the Orioles lose on the Apple broadcast, which is okay, but not great. In baseball, it's a sport that you're not happy when you get the national broadcast. You miss your local announcers. You have a great relationship with your local announcers. So then tonight, Will, it gets even trickier because in less than an hour, the Orioles, they're going to play the Giants again on Fox. It's a national game. But do you know what Fox does when they have a national game? They tab 2 games as their national game in case there's a rainout in one of them, that they have crews in multiple places. So that way, they're taken care of in that regard. That's what they do to cover their backs in case there's a rainout in their Saturday night primetime game. But their primary game that they're carrying for most of the nation is not the Orioles and Giants. It's the Cardinals and Red Sox. My local TV affiliate in North Carolina has chosen to pick up the Cardinals and the Red Sox, not the Giants and the Orioles. So even though things have gotten better on the RSN TV front, where you can, for most teams, just buy direct to consumer and not worry about blackouts, watching your team play, I truthfully, honest to God, have no idea how I can watch the Baltimore Orioles tonight. Like, I don't know. And that's a problem. Where it's like, hey, so I pay for MASN, but the game's not on MASN, the Orioles RSN. Yes, it's nationally on Fox, the game, sure, but they're carrying, my local affiliate isn't carrying, because I'm not in Baltimore, I'm in North Carolina, carrying the Cardinals and the Red Sox. If I want to watch the Orioles play, how do I do it? Sincerely, would love for someone to answer that question, because to me it sounds like a riddle.
You might be SOL.
I think so.
I think you might be. I mean, I'm over here. I've got the Yankees and the Rays on, so I can't relate to this. I really hate this for you. I do.
You don't.
They're just getting started at the Trop. Yeah.
That's all you had to add? That's it?
That's it. Well, I mean, because
Cool
I don't think there's anything you can do. I don't. It's just it's a bummer being an Orioles fan, all in all.
It's encouraging. Cam Young, Rory McIlroy tied at 11 under par. Rory's on 15. Cam Young just finished his round 3 at Augusta. That might be your final pairing for Sunday. This is your final call for phone calls. And a question we're asking, post Dontavian Wicks trade, the Packers receiver going to Philly, who's in a better position between the two? The Packers or the Packers? Or wait, the Eagles or the Packers? The Packers or the Packers? Great question, Josh. Nailed it. 310-840-4910 if you want in. That's next on The Josh Graham Show.
Imagine a sports platform that talks with you, not at you. Your stories, your opinions, your one destination. This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
Last call for phone calls after the Dontavian Wicks trade. Who's in a better position to contend next season, Philadelphia or the Green Bay Packers? 310-840-4910 if you want in. If you also want in on the Rookie of the Year debates, Con Knippel versus Cooper Flagg, or even what we're seeing with the Masters, where Rory McIlroy's 6-shot lead completely evaporated. What is the best story that we could see on Sunday? Is it Rory winning or somebody else? Maybe Cameron Young, who I bet on to win this week. My guy. Shout out to Demon Deacon Golf, and also I think he might be the only golfer that's sponsored by Major League Baseball, has the logo on his collar. 310-840-4910. On the NFL front, the Eagles, they do add Packers receiver Dontavian Wicks in exchange for a 5th-round pick. This move makes it abundantly clear that we're trending towards another A.J. Brown draft night trade. Or it might even happen before draft night, less than 2 weeks away, the NFL draft. This trade that we just watched yesterday, Wicks, it happens less than a month after Philly signs both Hollywood Brown and Elijah Moore at receiver. And let's not forget, they still have Devontae Smith, a former top 10 pick as well. If they intend to play all of these guys, Hollywood, Elijah Moore, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown, how does that go exactly? And you got Dallas Goedert catching passes for you still? Ancient Dallas Goedert? What exactly does that look like? Would it work? Probably not, which is why he's going to be traded. By the way, on the Packers end of this, no issue with the trade whatsoever. You drafted Matthew Golden in the 1st round for a reason a year ago. You have Reed, you have Watson, plus Tucker Kraft, one of the best pass-catching tight ends. He's going to be coming back from an injury. So plenty of weapons surrounding Jordan Love. Philadelphia, what do you get now in exchange for A.J. Brown? You're likely going to net a 2nd-round pick. That's probably what A.J. Brown's worth. That's exactly what the Chicago Bears got for DJ Moore. Buffalo sent a 2nd-round pick, what amounts to a 2nd-round pick, to Chicago. And in terms of value, I think DJ Moore and A.J. Brown are pretty comparable. They put up good numbers, not great numbers. They're both expendable on their teams, given the talent we just outlined. And both teams are moving on after each player had a memorably bad moment in the playoffs. A bad playoff moment that is seared in the brains of their fans. Credit to Howie Roseman's patience. Credit to someone that is seen to be one of the best GMs out there for not just getting a deal done because it's the start of free agency and that's when most of the conversation's happening. Shout out to him for trying to message the best he can, communicating that he wants a 1st-rounder for A.J. Brown. But teams now know, especially now, he wants to move on from A.J. Brown. It's obvious. So it wouldn't even be shocking. Honestly, it'd be more shocking they get a 1st-round pick than if they get a 3rd-rounder at this point. A second rounder is likely what it's going to be. It makes even more sense when you consider that Philly acquired A.J. Brown for the 18th overall pick and a third-round draft pick 4 years ago. 4 years, that is a lifetime for a receiver in this league. So it's going to be a second-round pick. And in terms of the team that gives them that second-round pick, the New England Patriots are still that team to watch for. You see some of the rumors elsewhere. Oh, it might be the Raiders that do so. Or just, you see the teams. They're out there. The Patriots, I see the Rams out there. You still have Puka Nacua, even though he has his issues. The Patriots, they're still the team to watch for there. How funny would it be if Diana Rossini broke that news? Do you think if she had the news, she would tweet it, or would she pass it along to a colleague? Say, you know what? I think it's better that you break this news. Just give it
She's
some
probably going to give it
this
to
week.
a colleague because she won't be reporting anything anytime soon.
Yeah, you could probably
It doesn't sound like.
have this one. And if you're Mike Vrabel, you might just be like, hey, you can, I know you're going through it right now. Here's a scoop. Here you go. Eric writes in, A.J. Brown, he gets open. His QB1 isn't that guy, respectively. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you keep A.J. Brown when adding all these receivers. No, you trade him, you get a second rounder back, and you take that. And the New England Patriots, they have the 31st pick of the second round. I think that would be compensation that makes sense for both sides. And this is a team that let Stephon Diggs walk and Austin Hooper walk while bringing in Romeo Doubs from Green Bay to replace some of Diggs' production. But that's not a one-for-one replacement. This is a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, that has a near MVP quarterback in Drake May on a rookie deal. This is the type of trade you make to be aggressive if you're in a winning window, if you're New England. It's what you do. It's what winning teams do. Look around you. The Broncos, they're pushing their chips in with Bo Nix on a rookie deal. Same draft, Bo Nix and Drake May. They added Jalen Waddle. The Ravens, they're pushing their chips in. They added Trey Hendrickson in free agency. The Buffalo Bills, we mentioned the DJ Moore trade. What is your equivalent to that? What are you doing to keep up if you're New England with the losses that you've had because of how many free agent acquisitions you brought in order to build that Super Bowl runner-up? And then let's not lose sight of the fact that if anybody understands A.J. Brown, it's Mike Vrabel. He has had connections to A.J. Brown from their time in Tennessee together. And Diana Rossini's the one that's been reporting how close the Patriots have been looking at A.J. Brown. It's not hard to really connect those dots at all. Really makes you think, oh, this team's interested. And it's because of Mike Vrabel, the head coach. But keeping it focused on the Wicks trade that just happened, who right now, as they're currently constituted, do you feel better about contending next season? Green Bay or Philadelphia? 310-840-4910 if you want in on the program. Rory McIlroy has climbed back in front at 12 under par where he started the day. He is now approaching the water, the par 3 on the 16th hole at Augusta National. Cam Young is at 11 under par. He shot 7 under today. Yesterday, he shot 5 under par, 5 under 67. And on the back 9 in round 1, he shot 3 under, shot 33 on the back 9 at Augusta. So nobody's playing better golf than Cam Young is right now. But Rory McIlroy still finds himself in the lead. Sam Burns, the last of the double digits under par. Sam Burns, who's just been consistent, been solid throughout this tournament so far. And yes, that remains true on moving day. 10 under par. That is the very top of the leaderboard. But it's not hard to see Scotty Scheffler right there looming at 7 under. And Justin Rose, given what he did a year ago at 8 under, and think that they have shots. And Patrick Reed's won this tournament before. He's at 7 under par too. And Jason Day's won this. He's a major champion. He's at 8 under par. This is a really, really strong leaderboard. Really happy about it. But again, we're asking the question. No matter what happens this weekend, Rory McIlroy, he's going to be the primary story at Augusta, regardless of what happens. If he wins, then we're talking about him solidifying himself as the greatest golfer in the world currently. If he loses, it's an even bigger story because of the 6-shot lead he had, the largest lead that in the 90-year history of the Masters a player had through 36 holes. Never seen someone with a 6-shot lead through 2 rounds. So, which story is more compelling? Honestly, what is it? Because if we were talking at the start of this round, we're saying Rory's off to this historic start. We brought up that stat, but 9 birdies on Friday, that's more than he's shot in any major championship round. And it's fair to say, the relief of winning last year and finally completing that major slam, it took so much pressure off his shoulders that he's playing loose again. Will Dalton, do you think there's any chance that Rory McIlroy is still playing loose at this point when he's up 6 shots and now that leads 1?
I mean, he might feel some of that. I mean, I'd like to think he's staying loose just because he's still a pro, and that's probably his mindset. But he probably feels a little bit of that pressure creeping up behind him a bit.
I'm sorry, man. The guy's a bit of a choker. He's
done it before.
He did it when he won last year.
Yeah.
2-3-shot lead going into the final round. That evaporated like in 3 holes with DeChambeau where he's trailing. But then Bryson fell apart. He benefited from Bryson self-combusting. And then he had a comfortable lead until he didn't over Justin Rose. And then he had an incredibly manageable putt on 18 that he missed to go to a playoff. End up winning the playoff, but are we going to act like that was a solid Rory McIlroy finish? That erases all the labels of him being a bit of a choke artist on this level? I hate using that word, but it's hard to avoid it when you consider how it ended at Pinehurst 2 years ago and 15 years ago, the lead that he blew and in the fashion he blew it in Augusta as a younger man. And not winning a major for 11 straight years and having some meltdowns over that stretch. You just can't ignore that scar tissue. That doesn't just go away because Rory ended up winning. So that's what the story will be if Rory loses. But if he wins, this would be fabulous for golf. It comes a year after Scottie Scheffler secured the distinction of being the greatest golfer in the world. So Scottie wins multiple major championships. I'm wearing a hat from one of those major championships for those watching on YouTube and watching on social media at Josh Graham Show on X. I got my PGA championship hat from Quail Hollow last year. Scottie won in a rout there. Scottie handled his business in the Open Championship. He is one win away at the U.S. Open from completing a career slam, and he's not even 30 yet. Something that it took Rory McIlroy a really long time to do, as we know. And Rory, one of the few in the world that have ever done that. Scottie is on the precipice of doing that, can do it later this year. But what would make it great if Rory wins is having a Tiger versus Phil-like conversation. This would be the modern day Tiger versus Phil. And it would be, you could argue, even better, not because either of these players are iconic the way that Tiger was. Not Tiger Woods, as it was told to me by Curtis Strange of ESPN, who's been sitting alongside Scott Van Pelt all weekend. He said Tiger Woods isn't moving the needle. Tiger Woods is the needle. Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy aren't that, but they are contemporaries. They are pretty on par with each other. Don't know many people that feel as if that Phil Mickelson was ever on par with Tiger Woods after a little while when Tiger separated there. When Tiger separated, it was Tiger versus Phil, sure, but Tiger Woods nobody was making the case for Phil. This feels like a real debate you could have. If Rory were to win, well, who would you have? Who's the best in the world? Is it Rory or is it Scheffler? And what a great time for this to take place at the first major of the year. So that when we get to, I think it's Whistling Straits this year. Is that where the PGA Championship is? when you get to the PGA and you get to the U.S. Open where Scotty has the chance to win that career slam, and when you get to the Open Championship, that debate, it's going to fuel interest in the sport. Golf's in a great place right now, and honestly, what would be best for the sport of golf is if Rory McIlroy figured out a way to win this, and you had that real debate you can have between Scheffler and between Rory at the very top of the sport. Speaking of the video stream, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Will Dalton's telling me we already have our conversation with Drake Toll up there. Drake from Banana Ball. He's in Albuquerque. He's calling the Party Animals game later tonight and on Sunday as well. A lot of fun. One of the funniest dudes I know, Drake Toll. And he's our morning host during the week on Westwood One Sports. So Drake was great. That conversation's already up at Westwood One Sports Night on our YouTube channel. It's where you can watch the show in addition to listening to it. Abby Labar of MLB Network, when she got done with Quick Pitch last night, jumped on with us. That was a lot of fun. You can find that there. That's where archived segments, archived interviews are available. It's where you can watch the shows live in addition to listening to them. It's where you can chime in. Like, you can write us and say things like live with Kellyanne and ask, who likes tiramisu? You know, important questions such as that. Are you a tiramisu guy, Will?
I love it. I mean, I'm a big coffee guy. Like, I just finished off some iced coffee not too long ago here. And, you know, tiramisu is very similar to coffee. It's like a coffee dessert. So I'm a fan of it. I like that.
Good to know. I'm not a fan. I am a fan of the podcast, though. Westwood One Sports Night on Apple Podcasts. Westwood One Sports Night on Spotify, too. Leave a 5-star review. I haven't checked in a while. But if you leave a comment in which there's nothing else there but you telling us who your favorite professional wrestler is, I'll read that on air. So if you don't know what to say, nice things about the show, might read those too if you leave a 5-star review. 5-star reviews only. But if you write the name of your favorite professional wrestler, we'll be sure to share that with the audience as well. You can find that on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, searching, once again, Westwood One Sports Night. Will Dalton, we need to put this show to bed. What do you have in order to execute that?
Find out what a guy did or had to do to get kicked out of Magic Kingdom.
Next.
Will Alabama QB Ty Simpson be picked in the first round? The Jets, Cardinals, and Steelers have been mentioned as fits for the pocket passer. The NFL Draft starts April 23rd. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
Westwood One Sports presents Josh Graham.
The Josh Graham Show about to close, but worry not. Worry not. Mike Wickett, he's taking over at the top of next hour. We'll take you until 11 p.m. tonight, and we'll have pairings and everything set for the 90th Masters. It looks like we're going to have Rory McIlroy and Cam Young in the final group together. The question is whether or not Rory McIlroy will be leading by the time he gets to the clubhouse. Got news for you. Rory's not winning the Masters. That's not happening. Will Dalton, you might not be there yet, but Rory hasn't hit a fairway since last year's final round. He doesn't hit fairways. He just spoiled a 6-shot lead in one day, and this isn't a guy who generally handles pressure well. It's hard to win green jackets back-to-back years. It's just not going to happen. Rory's not going to win it. So the question then becomes, who's next? Because Cam Young hasn't won a major before, but has finished top 2, strangely enough, and that's where he's in position right now. Might be in the lead or tied for the lead when the round starts. Sam Burns, never won a major either, 29 years old. Shane Lowry, he's won a major, won the Open Championship, never won at Augusta. Those are the top 4 right there within a couple of shots of the lead. Beyond that, it gets interesting when you see champions lurking like Scotty Scheffler and Justin Rose and Patrick Reed. They're all right there. But if I had to bet right now, I'd still keep with my Cam Young bet to win it, sure. But I don't think Rory's going to get it done. Like, he's just pitching it over the green right now, and he's trying to salvage the lead, salvage par.
I'm not going to count out Rory just yet. I'm not going to do that. But I get where you're coming from. I think if it's not Rory, it's either going to be Cam Young or Scotty Scheffler's going to shoot out of a cannon tomorrow and he's going to win it.
Word to the chat, Westwood One Sports Night, where you can chime in on YouTube. I see you're writing the names of professional wrestlers that are your favorites, but I need that on the Apple Podcasts subscription. Like 5-star review and then the name. So I like these names that are being put forth, but need that extra step. From William, for example, who writes in the Iron Sheik. Need the next level. That's what I need. Eric saying, the ultimate warrior. Duh. Live with Kelly and saying, I always liked wrestlers with animals. Coco Beware. British Bulldog. Jake the Snake Roberts. Even Junkyard Dog. That all makes sense. A lot of fans of Jake the Snake out there. But that's not the place for it. It's for the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. I don't know. Can you leave 5-star reviews on Spotify? Can you? Do you write reviews there? I don't know, but if you can, do it. 5-star reviews only. That's what we traffic in. Let's close out today's show. And the way we do so is by putting this show to bed.
So this story takes us to the Magic Kingdom. That's where we're going. A place I've never been.
Orlando or California?
Yes. This guy's name's Dustin, 44 years old, and the reason he didn't just get kicked out, he got banned from Magic Kingdom. And the reason is because he tried to sneak some of the booger sugar into the Magic Kingdom in his wallet. He apparently got caught with like one of those fat George Costanza style wallets that just has way too much stuff in it. And the stuff
I have one
was
of those right now.
the white stuff.
Oh, if you're watching on YouTube and on X, got some cash in my wallet here. I got a ton of receipts. I got some receipts.
What are you doing with all of those?
I didn't know where else to put it. You know,
The trash
expensing it
can?
for the Indianapolis. No, expensing the trip to Indianapolis.
Okay, well that's different. That's fair.
Like $62 worth of coffee over a 5-day span.
You needed it. You didn't go to bed till 4 a.m. for like what? How many days in a row?
4 out of the 5 nights. And the exception was when we went out to sing karaoke until 2.
Yeah. Brought the house down.
We did. Wagon wheel. That actually happened right after the last edition of the Josh Graham Show. Left the dinner, went to a really nice steakhouse, was around high-level Westwood One execs. Someone at the table says, what are we doing next? I said, how about we go sing karaoke? And they're like, okay. If you can find a karaoke bar that's walking distance from where we're at, then we'll do it. I Google karaoke bars, downtown Winston-Salem. Downtown Indianapolis. I'm in Winston-Salem right now. 400 feet away, the Wild Beaver Saloon is doing karaoke. Wild Beaver Saloon. So, they agree. We're talking like clients, high-level execs with Westwood One, and we walk to the Wild Beaver Saloon. I make a joke. Hey, let's text PJ Carlissimo, see if he wants to come sing with us. Ha, 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 ha. And then PJ actually comes walking by, but he didn't stick around long because he had Jim Boeheim with him. Passed on by. Then I sang Wagon Wheel, Burn the House Down. I just don't know, what song do I sing to top that in Detroit next year? I hope this becomes kind of like the Masters, a tradition unlike any other, where we find a karaoke bar in Detroit, and I need to belt something out. Early leader in the clubhouse as a nod to the auto workers, the people the hard working Americans that make this country go round, from Michigan and to Detroit, and also a nod to the Carolinas. A song that I talked about with Ryan McGee at the Final Four in Indianapolis. How about 40-Hour Week by Alabama?
Yeah.
There are
I can get on board with
in
that.
this country who work hard every day. Hello, Detroit auto worker. Let me thank you for your time. See,
dude,
just don't want to do something too basic. Don't want to do like You Lose Yourself by Eminem or anything like that. Can't do it. No, that'd just be bad. Like, we get it. It's you're in Detroit. That's fine. David writes in, Jimmy Superfly Snuka is his favorite. You better be writing that as the 5-star review in the Apple podcast, though. Got to make that happen. Help us out. Make this thing grow. So, if you have any more suggestions, I'm willing to listen to it.
I think you had it right, though, with the Alabama.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
I completely disrupted your story. So, the guy has a fat wad of cocaine, the booger sugar, the white horse, gutter glitter.
The gutter glitter, yeah.
The preacher's wife. Trying to think what else. The white horse is in his.
That's a good one.
Is in his wallet. It's in his wallet.
Yes.
And then this is where? At the Magic Kingdom. And then what happens?
So they were getting off the shuttle, like right there at the, I guess there's like a loop, a bus loop. And that's where he got busted at the security checkpoint. Because they tried to enter the line and, the scanner got set off. And they find the fat wallet, and there was not cash in it. There was the white horse. That's what we were looking at. So they banned him.
Bam Bam.
Like he's not allowed to come back at all. And he had his son with him too. That's the worst part.
I'm trying to think. I'm Googling it right now. Pseudonyms for
we're still doing
cocaine.
this.
I think I've rattled off a lot of them.
Yeah.
No, you can't have any of my jelly beans. You've seen Tropic Thunder, right? We've done that.
Of course, I love that movie.
We haven't said nose candy yet. That's an obvious one that we haven't said.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, the Devil's Dandruff. Forgot about that one.
The Devil's Dandruff. That's a good one. Yeah.
Colombian Bam Bam. Like there's a lot that we can do. This is exactly, in this moment, I'm thinking about Mike Wickett. That's what I'm thinking of. Who's about to take the reins from us here. I view it like passing the baton off. And we want to be running through the finish line when we hand the baton off. And I think what he might have pictured as the ideal lead-in to his program is a couple of guys talking about blow in different ways that you. I think that's what he had in mind. By the way, Rory McIlroy bogeyed 16 or 17, so he's on 18 now, 11 under, tied with Cameron Young. Rory is paired with Sam Burns, so Burns has a chance to knot it up and have a 3-way tie going into the final round. But my guess is, regardless of what happens, we're going to have, unless Rory bogeys and Sam Burns birdies, you're probably going to get Rory McIlroy and Cam Young together in that final pairing. A few more shout-outs. Logical, Raptors, Fanatic, My Dream Match, Undertaker and Sting. Sting was a god. Smitty, Pirates, Arg. Shout out to all of you who make this show possible, make this show go. We'll be back again 4 to 7 watching the finish in Augusta. Enjoy Mike Wickett because he's up next here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.